So once again, thank you for having me. I'm representing Comprehensive Medical Mentoring Program today. I know I kind of hopped on a little bit earlier and saw some of the matriculants or applicants and matriculants in terms of minorities into family medicine specifically, and I know we all can see the disparity that exists. African Americans make about 5% of the overall doctors in the United States. Obviously, we have a long way to go in terms of getting more minorities in medicine. I know the big stat right now is that there are less Black men who are actually applying to medical school now than there were in the 1970s, 1980s. So we clearly have a lot of work to be done. And that's what we're trying to kind of step in and make those stats better. So keep going. So we are a nonprofit organization. We were actually founded in 2015 by Byron Jasper. He's actually a family medicine doctor based in Louisiana, but he started Comprehensive, or CMMP is what I'll call it for short. He started it when he was doing a fellowship at Georgetown here in DC in 2015. Started out as a 6-month program and then turned into a nonprofit organization. The goal of our organization is to provide minority students who may come from disadvantaged or underprivileged backgrounds with experiences that can foster their matriculation into health professional schools, more specifically medical school, but we also support other health professions. So our main goal is to provide information, resources, and opportunities to these pre-health students who are underrepresented in medicine and healthcare, and to increase their knowledge and preparation for them applying and matriculating through. A lot of times we have students who say they want to be doctors but have never seen a doctor like them and don't know the process. And so our goal is to kind of step in and kind of guide them along the way. And we all encountered hurdles in our journeys, and so we want to see if they can avoid those hurdles. That's one of our goals as well. So we have a pipeline structure where we have mentorship and networking at all stages to actively engage various educational levels in healthcare with the goal of increasing diversity in the medical field. So we started as young as high school. Of course, one day we'd love to get to elementary schools, but we're still growing, still fairly new. So typically our kind of youngest age is high school, and then we mentor at each level, even through physicians. And as you can see, the arrows go back and forth because while we definitely want the kind of older or more mature groups to mentor those before them, we also want the younger groups to mentor within the groups, but also the younger people before them who are coming after them as well. So it's kind of a pipeline approach that we found that works pretty well. So we have a lot of programs that we use to kind of support our overall goal of getting these students more prepared and more experiences and get them ready for applying to medical school. Some of them include CMMP consults, which Leon McCree actually was our first guest on our CMMP consults. And that's pretty much just like an informal Q&A interview with a healthcare provider, physician. And it's kind of an interactive way that students can learn about their particular journeys and get some kind of advice from people who look like them, from physicians who are kind of where they were and where they want to be. That happened during COVID. So we realized that a lot of our programs were in person pre-COVID. So of course we had to kind of flip it to be more virtual. And this is one of the programs that we started during the virtual aspect kind of spring of last year, and it's proven really well, and we continue. We typically do one a month. We also have pre-med workshops. We had a whole month last month, and the purpose of these are to get students prepared for when they're applying for medical school. So we do workshops about how to write a CV, how to write a personal statement. We conduct mock interviews. We also have health professional panels, how to study for the MCAT. So these are all have the overall goal of kind of explaining to them and guiding them through how to prepare, how to be ready to go when you are ready to apply to medical school. We also host the Rounds Initiative. So this is kind of like a grand round style. We present a clinical case to students and then walk through the case with them. It's an interactive virtual right now experience where we'll present a case, say, hey, you know, Miss Jones came in presenting with these symptoms. What do we do? So we kind of go through with them how to take an H&P, how to do a physical exam, what tests we need to order, how do we come up with a differential diagnosis. And then the most important thing I think is that at the end, we kind of go through how what they're learning now in their undergrad classes actually will end up coming back full circle when they're physicians. So whether it be what they're learning in genetics class or anatomy class, we kind of go through how what they're learning now is going to be helpful when they're actually in the real world as a practicing physician. We have a clinical research internship here in the DC area. And so what this does is this provides students with opportunities to actually get hands-on experience with clinical research. And we find a lot of students are interested in research, but really only have access to bench research at their undergraduate institutions. And so a lot of students don't even know that you can do clinical research, and so you can actually do research and still see patients. And so this is kind of our way to introduce that overall theme to them. We are going into our 4th year, and we actually have 8 interns this year, which is our biggest class. So we're very, very proud of that program. We have a clinical shadowing program in DC as well as Louisiana, where our other 2 chapters are. They're in Baton Rouge and New Orleans. And so this is kind of like the self-explanatory. We have students who kind of get to go and shadow. A lot of our students have never shadowed a physician and don't really know what it's like to be a physician. So this just provides them with kind of firsthand account to kind of be the observer and see what a day-to-day experience is being a physician. Pre-COVID, we also would host simulation labs and campus tours in medical schools. This once again kind of allows students to see what it's like to actually be a medical student, get on campus, talk to medical students, kind of see what the simulations labs are like, just to really kind of put them in that mindset of, I can actually do this. We also hold suture clinics and CPR workshops, once again, to give students that kind of hands-on first approach to what it's like to be a physician, practicing, learning how to tie sutures. And then we also help them get their CPR certification, which they can use in the future as well. So these are just some pictures. Once again, this is all pre-COVID. So this is the Rounds Initiative where Dr. Byron actually presented a clinical case to some students. This is our mock interviews that we've done. This is just a picture of one of the pre-med workshops that we've hosted in the past. This is the simulation lab. This is a really cool lab at GW where they actually can do kind of endoscopes or colonoscopy type of scopes. And students got hands-on experience with that. This is our CPR clinic, and then this is our suture clinic. And then once again, we also do campus tours, and they actually get to interact and talk to current medical students to kind of, have that peer that's closer in age to them, kind of tell their journey and give them pieces of advice too, which they definitely appreciate. We also really, really reiterate the importance of community service in our students. So we explain to them not only is it important to take care of patients in the clinic, but also to give back to the communities in which we serve. So pre-COVID, we would do a lot. We would actually do a monthly in-person community service, whether it be collecting shoes or toiletries. We would volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club. This is when we were handing out groceries to the homeless population in DC. So our big overall goal, of course, is to get them into medical school, but also to make sure that they're giving back and kind of remembering the overall picture of serving the community. And this is just an example of the Rounds Initiative. So once again, we have a presenting case, we give them, vitals, and kind of that's it. So then we go over kind of the abnormal and normal vitals, kind of going through the entire case. What do we do? What labs? What's the differential? And then lastly, what undergrad or grad classes are important or helpful for this? So students really seem to like it. Of course, we kind of break it down and don't make it too technical because they want to actually understand, but students really do seem to engage and enjoy that presentation. So this is just some feedback from students that we've received in the past for various programs that we've hosted. One of our things that I think we pride ourselves on is actually having the close-knit relationship between physicians and mentors and the students. So while we go to community service, the physicians are right there with them, or the other healthcare professionals are right there with them. So they can actually interact with them more of in an informal setting. And that also helps students feel more comfortable and kind of realize, okay, physicians are just like everybody else. A lot of times we go to students and students are like, I honestly didn't think that physicians were normal people. And so I think having that kind of more informal setting when we do community service actually gives them that, okay, they're just like me, I can do the same thing. So we enjoy that as well. In terms of success, so we're always excited when we get students who are into medical school. 2020 was actually a great year. We had 5 former CRI interns, our clinical internship students, and national leadership members who were accepted and matriculated into medical school. We had 2 of them who went to Howard University College of Medicine. One went to Wayne State, one went to UCSF, and then one went to the Military Medical School here in Bethesda, Maryland. And then this year, I know we're not even finished, but we already have 2 students from our leadership and research internship who have been accepted into medical school. So this is kind of what keeps us going. We have a long way to go, but even getting 2 or 3 students in a year is a success story to us. So it's what keeps us going. So we do have a call to action. We always are looking for help. It's definitely not a one-man show, and it's a heavy load to bear. And it's always more helpful if you have a large group to kind of pull along the load. So we always are looking for mentors, health professional students, physicians, and other healthcare professional mentors who are interested in assisting pre-health mentees in various capacities. So whether it's providing clinical shadowing opportunities, reviewing their personal statements or their curriculum vitae. When we get the personal statements and curriculum vitae, like they're very raw. The students don't necessarily know what's supposed to go in them. So it's a lot of times I don't think if they didn't have us read them and they submit that, medical schools are going to be like, what is this? Even if the students tried their hardest, it's always helpful to have somebody who's done it before kind of look over it, because they'll have their English professors or their friends or their parents review them. But obviously it's a little bit different when you're actually in the healthcare field and kind of know what we look for. Also, we're always looking for mentors to serve as mock interviewers, as well as guests for our CMMP consults. So you can also be a CMMP advocate. And so the purpose of the advocate is to share information about CMMP to other pre-health students, as well as other health professionals, potential sponsors or partners, or just your colleagues from all disciplines of medicine. And our talking points are, of course, our mission statement, our pipeline mentoring approach, which is kind of something we pride ourselves on. And then what sets us apart is we emphasize the importance of mentoring and formative development in students. So of course, we want them to be academically excellent, but we also, once again, want to make sure that they understand the concept of kind of taking along the next person after them, giving back to the community. And then calls for leadership. So we always welcome clinicians and healthcare professionals who like to get involved in a more leadership capacity, whether that be helping to plan educational events, organizing community service events, expanding our partnership and networking, identifying clinical shadowing and clinical researching, or helping with fundraising opportunities. So these are our kind of ways to contact us. Our website is cmmpmed.org. You can sign up to become an online member. You can join our email list. And then if you'd like to particularly sign up for any of those calls of action, we actually have a call to action on our website at the tab at the top. So feel free to sign up for sure. We're also on all social media platforms. So we're on Facebook and LinkedIn. It's Comprehensive Medical Mentoring Program. On Instagram and Twitter, and our handle is at CMMPmed. If you have any questions, you can always feel free to email us at general-inbox@cmmpmed.org as well. So thank you so much for having us today, and we hope that we can definitely kind of work together in the future to increase diversity in medicine, but definitely in family medicine as well.